Good evening to everyone, and welcome to our virtual open house for our online Masters of Nursing Family Nurse Practitioner program here at George Mason. Just a quick overview of the agenda tonight. We're going to meet our presenter and go over what makes this program unique, curriculum details, career outcomes, just it's a great time to get to know a little bit more about the program from our director, Dr. Shanti Chang. She's going to tell us about herself and her role, and touch a little bit on the program, career outcomes, what the online format looks like. And then I'll go over in brief detail admission requirements. And then at the end, we will have a question and answer. I encourage you to put any questions that you have in the question and answer box that should be on your screen. A lot of them might be answered as Dr. Chang goes through her information, but feel free. This is for you to get to know a little bit more. We're just so glad that you're here with us this evening. And so before we jump in, just a little bit of housekeeping. There is a questions box and a chat box on your screen. So I kind of did that a little preemptively there, but feel free to use the questions box to ask those questions, and we will cover those at the end. All right, and let's go ahead and get started by hearing a little bit more from our director, Dr. Chang. Are you ready to share a little bit about yourself?
I would be very excited to do that. Thank you. Yeah, like you said, my name is Dr. Shanti Chang. I do have my doctor in nursing practice in for initial concentration of FNP, and I actually just did my postmaster's psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner as well. So I am an active nurse practitioner in family practice and in psych practice currently, as well as an associate professor and the division director at the School of Nursing. I've been at Mason maybe I just hit maybe my seventh year as faculty. So, but I did do my DNP at Mason, as you can see on this list here. So I love it. I've been around for a while. Um, I think that we've got a lot of interesting and unique opportunities. We set our graduates up for success and really impactful work in the communities that they serve. And yeah, I can't speak highly enough about it. You can go to the next slide. I think that maybe even I get to brag a little bit more just about the program and kind of how we've I guess demonstrated some of how good we are, right? Like we were just rated the number 10 best masters program in the country, and that was out of public and private universities. I think the score was even a little bit higher if you were just to look at public universities. So we are very aware that most of you all are juggling lots of things with careers, family, just maybe some tension of stress of trying to get back to school. Finances plays into that a lot. So I think we have a really kind of creative and flexible curriculum that allows for, hopefully a balance there, as well as some financial aid programs, some scholarship opportunities, for you guys to come our way if that's something that you decide to do. Every single faculty in the program is a practicing nurse practitioner. And I think that that is really important, because then you're learning from people that still have their hands in the mix and are doing the work. Not to say that there isn't value in having a kind of clinical career and then going into teaching, but as we all know, medicine and evidence and research changes quickly. So it's really nice that everybody on the faculty has a lot of experience and current experience. We also have some kind of like homegrown clinics called the MAP clinics. And those of you that are familiar with Mason or the area might be familiar with that. I'm happy to talk more about that, but they're free clinics that the students will work in and the faculty work alongside them. So it's just a real win-win that the students get hands-on experience and then the faculty get to work with you guys. And I love it. So we are accredited by CCNE. We just had our site visit in March, and that's good for the next 10 years. And we met all standards with no compliance concerns. So there's no concern about any of our accreditation standards. Our curriculum is founded on IPEC, and just I think really, really interested in embedding the essentials of nursing education to all of our nursing students. So,
That is awesome. That is
yeah.
wonderful. All right. Oh, there we
So
go.
yeah, thank you. A little bit more. I kind of was already talking a little bit about some of what makes our program unique. The MAP clinics, like I mentioned, are an example, just one example of a community focused, evidence based curriculum. Once you get to your clinical semesters, it's really nice to have that opportunity to get clinical hours and work with persons in a vulnerable setting. And if you're not physically in the Northern Virginia area, that's fine. We've got evening telehealth opportunities, and we actually post up in a lot of the homeless shelters in the Northern Virginia area to increase access to healthcare through that. So it's completely free for the patients. It's interprofessional on the students' end. So it's, in the community, lots of public and population health focused concepts integrated in throughout both your direct clinical experiences and then the curriculum to kind of prepare you for that. So we are a school of nursing embedded in a college of public health, and we're the only school of nursing in a college of public health in the state, which is really unique and cool, I think. The flexible online format designed to accommodate busy working students is like I said before, strategically designed to keep in mind that you guys are more than likely juggling more than just school when you're in this program. So we do, for the most part, offer the classes in 8-week chunks. So you're just able to take one class at a time. Once you get to the end of the road and you're in clinical, it gets a little bit more layered than that. But especially when you're trying to dip your toe back into the school environment and work on this, it's definitely laid out so you can just focus on one class at a time. And I will say we don't have any kind of rules that say like, life happened, I need to take a break for a semester. Can I pause for a minute, and then jump back in the next semester? We have plenty of students do that. I think we had a baby boom this past summer. I think there was like 20 people or something that stopped to have babies and then jumped back in the fall. So we have a very, very high term to term retention rate usually. But if we don't, it's because something life-wise has happened like that, and a person just needs to take a little break and then wants to jump back in, which is totally fine. We get it, and we like to celebrate you guys and want you to enjoy important times in your life too. Again, the direct contact with the practicing faculty is, I think, impactful, not just in those direct clinical experiences in the MAP clinic with each other, but just learning from them, even in like theory and ethics and patho and pharm. They're just so knowledgeable at what they do, and really come to you guys with a real world sense of kind of what's necessary and what's needed. And then, as I mentioned, the CCNE accreditation is just something that we worked really hard on this year, and we did really well. So fingers crossed for when it happens again in 10 years, but I think we'll be fine.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. And I love the baby boom.
Yeah, right?
All right.
So this is a little bit more of a snapshot of the curriculum. It is a 49 credit program. The classes are, for the most part, like I said, in order of kind of like an 8-week class, an 8-week class, an 8-week class, an 8-week class. And these are scaffolded intentionally to help your learning. I do know that sometimes going into an online only program can be kind of daunting, because you'll wonder, well, what's the connection that I'll have with the other students and the faculty? I'm not a computer whiz. Like, am I going to be able to do it? Is it going to be too complicated? We're very aware of like where you guys are in each of your classes and what platforms are introduced, and kind of not just in terms of content scaffolding, but also like technology learning as you're going, and try to be mindful that we're not throwing too much at you guys, and the faculty are always accessible, like, very responsive to email. Like I even tell people straight up, I'm like, just text me, we'll figure it out, so everybody's pretty laid back and understanding. With that said, professionalism is always expected and appreciated, but you'll start off in the program in a theory and ethics class related to nursing. And then you'll go into some foundations of public health. And this is a cool class because it's actually interprofessional within the college. So you might have social work students, public health students, health admin, health IT students in the class with you. And it's an opportunity to look at all of the health disciplines through a public health lens and work on some stuff. Nursing informatics is just, yeah, focuses a lot on not just nursing informatics, but I think overall a lot of project organization as you advance in your career and using informatics and technology to your benefit in structuring solutions, because it is the way of our world now. We do have a nursing research and biostats class. This is mostly a refresher, I would think. Maybe some new things of, some more statistical analysis and kind of translational research into practice, building on what you've done before. But the teacher who teaches that class is just amazing. And yeah, I know no one really loves math, but she does a really good job and makes sure everybody is good on that. And then we do organization, nursing, healthcare, and delivery systems. So looking at some systems level things, not just necessarily in our country, but also the world, kind of trying to, I guess, examine issues and come up with solutions and just understand some of our history and organization and how we've come to be the way we are. There's community-oriented primary care, decision-making and farm management and health assessment, farm and patho in our level 2 classes. That's where you get a chance to really start, I think, a little bit more literally transitioning into the advanced practice role as a family nurse practitioner. It gets more clinical. You start having more, case studies. Okay, 5-year-old shows up with these symptoms and this history, and what do you do? So it's really a chance to start putting all the pieces together as to what will make you a nurse practitioner. And then once you get into the final concentration classes, those FNP concentration classes that you see on the right there, 738, 742, 739, 744, 741, and 749, that's your last 2 semesters actually of the program. And that's really when you are, you're in clinical, you're seeing patients with a preceptor, you're getting ready to take your boards at the end of the day, and you're ready to practice. So like I said, kind of scaffolded intentionally on purpose to help your learning and guide your learning. And, we've got almost 100% pass rate on our boards for first-time test takers. So I think this program really prepares you well to practice in boards. I hear from all the preceptors that, there's so many that are like, oh, we only accept George Mason students because of
That's
just the
good to hear.
caliber. Yeah, right. Yeah. So I think the program does a good job in preparing you both from a didactic curriculum content and then clinical content, and then mix it all in with some like real world and core values of social justice, bringing care to vulnerable and underserved populations. I think that there's just a lot of value in the way that the curriculum is designed. And I see a question here. Can you get a double degree or concentration of FNP and public health? That's a great question, Laura. Within nursing, I know that we do have the MSN and FNP, and that's, I think, it's technically the only MSN that we offer. I can't speak to the MPH. That's in the College of Global and Community Health. We could possibly meet with the director or find out, and figure out if a dual pursuit would be possible. If I'm being honest, I don't know time-wise how much bandwidth you'd have. This is, 49 credits of fairly rigorous enough content, but that's not to say that the answer is absolutely no. I just don't know enough about the MPH program requirements. I do know that over the last couple of years, Mason has changed their rules that you can apply some credits to 2 separate things. So like, I know for our doctorate students, for example, a lot of times when they're looking for credits to fill in for their doctorate and trying to pursue something they're interested in, we'll encourage them to do their nursing education certificate at the same time as their doctorate, and it counts for both. So Maybe possible, just something we would have to look into a little bit more and talk to some college contacts. Um, for and I also see, can I share how many transfer credits the university will accept from another FNP program? If the degree was not conferred, it's 9. If the degree was conferred, you probably don't want to come to our program, and you'd want to talk to me, or I could put you in touch with someone for an FM or for a DMP program. You'd probably be more interested in pursuing a terminal degree than another master's. But yeah, if it's not conferred, 9 is the answer. I hope that answers your question, because I'm assuming if you already got an FNP, you wouldn't be in this one. Does that make sense? You're interested in this one. Perfect. What other questions about like the flexible, like the curriculum? Like I said, like, you know, we've had people who say, shoot, someone got sick, or I'm mentally fatigued, or I can't afford classes next semester right now. I want to work and build up some cushion. And, that's just a conversation that you have with me, and you have a student success coach that's dedicated to you, that helps register you for classes, keeps in touch and says, hey, how are things are going? This is what I want, you to take next semester. Does that sound okay with you? It's just a conversation between all of us. If at some point you want to go full-time as an option, this is actually the full-time schedule, is 1 class at a time. If you wanted to take more than that, yeah, we could certainly talk about it. But the even taking 1 at a time, for the most part, with the exception of, if you're looking at this list, patho and pharm are combined into 1 semester over a 15-week block, just to give you more time with both those. And then once you get to your clinical semesters, those are over a full 15-week semester. But if you wanted to double up prior to that, we haven't had anyone do it, but I can't say, never say never. But even with the schedule as it's laid out here from start to end, it's 7 semesters, usually without any breaks. And I see another question, do students have to go on campus for in-person teaching? No, this program is 100% online. Like I said, even with our telehealth kind of experiences through the MAP clinic, you still get that synchronous component of working with your faculty, seeing patients, working with the other disciplines together, but it's via telehealth. It's not that frequent unless you want it to be frequent and you want to do it more. You can always pick up extra, but we allow for everyone to be completely online in this program. We do not have like some other schools, once or twice a semester, you're asked to go to campus, but we do not currently have that. I will say, alternatively, just because trend-wise, it looks like we do have a lot of students in this program from the Northern Virginia area who are local, and maybe they still just want to online program for the flexibility, but would also like the option of maybe sometimes engaging in person. We can arrange for that too. Like, we don't offer the courses with the same regularity in the traditional program, but we do, let me throw that out there, we do have a traditional MSN FNP program. If you are like, I don't think online learning is for me, I want to go into the classroom more, it's a hybrid approach. They're online half the time, in person half the time. That is definitely an option. But we can also, just because, we have a beautiful lab, we have a beautiful sim lab, on campus. If that's something that you're interested in and wanted to arrange time to go there to physically practice, like your health assessment skills or something like that on top of the online modality, that's something that we could figure out and work out with the other faculty. So no in-person requirements for this MSN online program. And then I'm looking at, there's someone who has a PhD in nursing without an active nursing license. Okay, so either for the MSN or DNP, you're going to have a valid RN license in the United States to be considered for admission. And if you have more questions about that, I would recommend maybe that's something that we can circle back to later. You can email us on, just because that sounds like it's a little bit more of a different situation. So there's another question that's just about, as far as clinicals go, can we buddy up with someone in the class? And do you have connections with facilities that you can do your clinicals at, or could you call offices to ask? Yeah, we've got a whole clinical process. We've got your own clinical coordinator for this program. We hold clinical information sessions at least once a semester and offer the recordings of the information for the semester in between. It is a process that I recommend you think about sooner than later, or at least learn about and go to an info session sooner or later so you can kind of see how it is. But roughly, you do look for your own clinical sites, and then we have kind of a vetting process where we get a contract in place. If there's not one in place, we kind of look into the preceptor, make sure that, credentials wise, license wise, it all makes sense. And then there's not a ton of red tape, like we're flexible. We've had a little bit of back and forth on contracts sometimes where the site will say, oh, we don't like this one word here. We send it to legal and we fix it. So I think in terms of sites to target, primary care is important. Just to be clear, this is a primary care program. So like if you were thinking that you wanted to spend time in clinical in the hospital inpatient, you might want to just look at options for other programs. You can do up to 100 hours of clinical inpatient if you want in this program, but you need to have at least 500 outpatient primary care hours. And that could be in family practice settings, internal medicine, community health centers, federally qualified health centers, like health departments, pediatrics, primary care, and women's health count as primary care for us. Yeah, there's a lot of options. And I don't know that you necessarily need to get too much into the weeds about all of that right now. Just know that there is a process. We do have relationships with lots of places. If you need help, you've got your own clinical coordinator that you can email and say, hey, I need help. Here's what I've tried. It's not working. What guidance do you have for me? And then, like, I keep on bringing it up, but the MAP clinics, if you are local to the DMV area, we do have these homegrown clinics that have multiple settings now. It was one clinic that started in 2013, and now there's like 10 of them scattered around that we have open Monday through Thursday, where we welcome and encourage nurse practitioner students to go every day, every day. So there's, a homegrown option for people to get clinical hours with us as well.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of segues to actually to the next slide, perfectly.
Oh, and I also see a question here too. How big are the classes? Thanks for that question, Laura.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
We try to cap each section at like 25. We do not have a cap on the program for admission. So like, for example, we just accepted a fall cohort of 62. So yeah, we try to keep class sizes 20 to 25, typically speaking. Career outcomes. Yeah, this is great. So I think, again, our goal as a program is to set you up for success as a nurse practitioner, but also to put people out into the world who are game changers and understand the systems and the issues with healthcare and feel motivated and knowledgeable on how they might, be a key piece to the puzzle and a person who sits at the table to work on some of these big problems that we have. So, like it states here, I think that there's just such an increased demand for primary care providers. And if you look at the evidence and numbers coming from all the populations we serve, nurse practitioners are very trusted and in what we do. And we offer lots of really good solutions at an affordable price for a lot of folks in our country, and out. We have plenty of students who also are international that, maybe they're here just for while they're doing school and clinical, and then they go back and they, want to work on something in another country, which I think is so cool. So this is where we're coming from. We're trying to make sure that you guys are, number one, of course, ready to be a nurse practitioner, laying your hands on a patient and a family, and safe and efficient and productive, but also just really able to affect change on a bigger scale. A lot of our graduates do go into serving vulnerable populations upon graduation. And that's strategic on our part, like that we that's part of why we have the MAP clinics, and we work so hard to get everybody involved in our clinics. The evidence is just so strong that those of you that have a chance to work with vulnerable populations in your workforce training are much more likely to kind of carry some strings of that, some threads of that into your practice after. So lots of our patients, students become successful nurse practitioners in community health centers, federally qualified health centers, neighborhood health clinics, like things like that. We also have lots of people that are just, really interested in getting a good base at a family practice or an internal medicine, and they go on and are successful there. Yeah, urgent cares, hospitals. We do allow some, you can go to an ER, especially one with fast track, and have that count as primary care for your clinicals in our program. So I know that that's a route that some people want to go. Yeah, I can't say that there's any kind of setting other than if you know for a fact that you 100% want to do inpatient NP stuff, maybe this isn't the program for you, but almost any other setting that you have a passion or an interest for, I would say that we can make it work.
That's awesome. That's great. So many different areas.
Yes.
So now it's my turn to share a little bit of information. So I know we kind of dove into the question and answer a little bit, but we still have time for that too. But I'd like to just briefly go over the admissions process. If you have any questions regarding the next steps, as far as start dates, application materials, anything like that. And I did get the individual that shared their email address, and I was going to say we can work together. I will probably be reaching out to you tomorrow, if that's okay, with a little bit more information for you. Please, if you're already working with an admissions representative, please reach out to them. I will also be posting our general phone number and email if you're not sure who you're working with. But we do have amazing people that are just ready to talk to you and work with you and help you out. But I'm going to go over just a few of the basics of the admissions process, so we can use this valuable time to hear from Dr. Chang, because she is the expert on the program and the star tonight. So for the admissions process, of course, we need your official transcript. Unofficial will work, but we do need official before if you're in admitted by the end of your first semester. So we try really hard to get that before even admittance. But unofficials will work if that's how we have it at this point. A professional up-to-date resume is needed. 3 letters of recommendation also, and your personal statement. So why are you looking into this program? I always tell, and if any of my people are on here, I say share your story. Why are you wanting to do this? It's so important, as they're looking at your application. A little bit about the prerequisites. I know this is something I get a lot of questions about when talking to potential students. You do need to have your bachelor's in nursing from a regionally accredited institution with a minimum of a 3.0 GPA. You need to have an active RN license here in the United States. And at least 1 year of experience as an RN and your current CPR card. And that is all uploaded and sent over, that information. So that's just a brief overview. And like I said, I'll be posting the phone number and email address in the chat shortly, for you to reach out if you have any other questions as far as that goes. And so we're going to go ahead and switch it back over for questions and answers, if that's okay. And yeah, feel free to put your questions in the question and answer or in the chat. It's a little bit easier for us to see in the question and answer box, but feel free to put it in the chat if you're not able to get to that.
Yeah. And I just wanted to add a couple things, if that's okay, on the
Absolutely,
application part, and just things I look at, because I read literally your whole application for every person that applies to the program as the final kind of stamp on it. If you have something in life where it was a little bit, maybe difficult, you struggled, maybe it doesn't look good, use your personal statement as a means of explaining that and demonstrating your resiliency. Like I certainly haven't been perfect in life. I've had some times where, I look back and I'm like, shoot, wish that went different. But if I can think about it and turn it into like, well, this is the lesson I learned, or this is how I actually benefited from that at the end of the day, then that's really of interest to me, that you would have that insight and be able to use it for your success in the future. So don't think that like you have to be perfect, to apply, and everything has to be, just sparkly and beautiful. Like use your statement to kind of explain who you are and what you want to do and some things that you've been through if you want. Um, Also, just the year of experience as RN, just to clarify that timeline, it's a year of experience by the time the classes start. So like right now, if let's pretend you graduated, last December, but you want to apply right now to start in January, and you started working, let's say like in January of 2024 as an RN, you could still apply in theory. And I would be able to see, oh, okay, yeah, they've got a year experience come the time the program starts, even if it's not technically a year right now. Um, so, official transcript, there's a question here that says official transcript only from nursing school or other degrees. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Tabitha, I think it's mostly nursing schools, as long as that's what you're using to bring in. Like if you were trying to apply credits from another degree pursued to transfer in to not take something that we ask you guys to take, then that would have to be official. Is that right?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I'm fairly new, so
Yeah, no, it's
you
okay.
guys talk to me. I know, like for other programs too, like we want to make sure if there's any like prerequisites that they're showing on that transcript as well. If
Okay,
that makes
yes.
sense.
Yes, yes,
So
yes,
and
exactly.
we work with you for that, and help you out with looking at that and getting that information too. That's part of our job. So
Yeah. And I think I just answered Catherine's question of the 1 year of experience prior to the start of classes or prior to start of clinicals. It's 1 year of experience prior to the start of the program. You don't start clinicals in the program until your 6th semester in the program. So I hope that answers that question. Um, Do your letters of recommendation have to be from specific people? We do want at least one of them to be from a manager or a supervisor of your work, in some capacity. The more current, the better. But there's no hard and fast rule on how current. Ideally someone who's been your supervisor or manager in a nursing role. Not to say that you probably weren't great at some job that you did in high school before nursing, but like just not as relevant and helpful to making the strongest application packet that you can. Um, this is another one that I'm not quite sure on, this question of if you're a GMU alum and graduated with your BSN, is an official transcript needed, or can the Office of Admissions get it through their records? Do you know how
I,
that works?
yes, I can answer that one actually.
Okay, yay.
Yes, we're able to get that on your behalf. So that's one of the easy things to do. I love well, I love working with everybody, honestly, but working with alum, it's always nice to see y'all coming back, which is pretty cool. But yeah, we can work through. We have people that can do that. So we have people.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I know too, like, this isn't necessarily the focus of this program, of this info session tonight, but like let's take that a step further and say, hey, you graduated with your MSN as an FNP, and then you want to come back for your doctorate, or maybe even mid-program you change your mind and you decide you'd rather pursue the DMP versus the MSN. There are fancy things that they all can do in their office to kind of move some of the stuff over and find it from other places. The paper and this personal statement, there's no like, I'm not gonna, I don't know. It's whatever it needs to be that works for you. I think that there's a couple questions in the prompt that just kind of ask you about your outlook on being a nurse practitioner, why you want to be a nurse practitioner, that kind of thing. So certainly, like however long you think it takes to answer that, and then also explain anything else in life that you might want to explain if there's any need for that. I would say most people's papers end up being somewhere between, or reflective statements end up being somewhere between like 2 and 4 pages maybe. But again, there's no hard and fast rules on that. When I read it, I'm not like, oh shoot, it was only 1 page. Like if it was a stellar 1 page and I get it, cool. Similarly, if it's 10 pages, that doesn't also automatically mean it's an in either, because I want it to make sense and help your packet. So I think I saw a question in here about clinicals and just the spacing of that. Can clinicals be completed during the summer or fall, spring only? No, we offer the clinical courses every semester. So we've even had, so technically in the regular plan of study, and again, this is where flexibility comes in. So my job right now is, I guess, to give you guys the lay of the land as it is typically, but typically in this program, you do clinical over your 6th semester and your 7th semester, then you graduate over your 7th semester in the program. We have had some folks who have had some circumstances or whatever, maybe for example, like not living in this country, who have arranged for doing clinicals over 1 semester. So they're doing all 600 hours or 500 direct patient care hours in that 1 semester. And they're still not technically graduating until the 7th semester because the didactic classes can't be taken at the same time as all of that. But it is, like if oh, my kid's schedule, whatever, childcare, like I literally only have 1 semester to get it done, you can do it in 1 semester. I don't have like a rule of you can't do more than the minimum of hours, if that makes sense. And again, we offer the clinicals like every semester. So if you were like, shoot, the way my program lines up, I'm supposed to take clinical in the spring, but I'd really rather not. I want to hold the semester and wait till summer. That's fine. It's just a conversation that we need to have and stay organized. I'm just looking back here at the chat. When should you apply if you're looking to start the fall of 2025? That's a good question. I don't know. Is that application open yet?
It is, I would say
Okay.
now. We have rolling applications, so they are open for fall. I'm one of those, the sooner you start and get the ball rolling, the better, you can get your information in, get your decision in, so you know what you're doing. That's just me. That's all the students I work with. I'm like, the sooner you can get information in, the better. So that's just me, but yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah. Well, and
definitely.
I think sometimes too, there's other pieces that you can't account for, right? Like, when is
Right.
your old university going to send the transcript? When is the person that you asked for that letter of recommendation actually going to submit it? So kind of the sooner the ask and giving yourself more cushion, why not?
Absolutely. And it does take time to write that personal statement. And I always tell students I'm working with, take the weekend. I don't know about y'all, and I don't have near a stressful job as a nurse. Um, and it's hard for me to take that time to write at the end of a workday and dealing with kids and
Yeah,
life in general. So
absolutely.
take a weekend or two.
Yeah.
So the sooner you get started, the better. But yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a question here of, for GPA below 3.5, can you still apply? Absolutely. Honestly, yeah, I think 3.5 is like encouraged, I would say we, in reality, really don't start getting, I think, concerned or thinking that it's going to be a marker of, you know, um, not being successful unless you get under a 3.0. And even under 3.0, like if it was a long time ago and you've got 10 years of RN experience and you're speaking to, that in your personal statement, um, yeah, go for it. Like, just again, use the personal statement and your resume and everything to kind of demonstrate the strength and the skills and the learning that you've had over time, and why you'd be successful in the future. Um, For in terms of timelines on decisions, it's a little bit of like a ladder. So first thing is, I think the office isn't even really able to look and assess your packet until each of the components are in. Because they're not going to send things through us to the faculty with, oh, okay, here, Dr. Chang, like here's their essay, but sorry, wait, we're still waiting on their transcript. So by the time everything gets to faculty, it needs to be in one piece, and their office looks at it kind of first, make sure it's all good, meeting our basic parameters of like, hey, will this person have a year of experience, coming into the start of the program, that kind of thing. And then they give it to a faculty reviewer, and then it goes to me for kind of the final stamp on it. I know that between those steps, I explain it to say that everyone's usually prioritizing the semester that's immediately coming first. But that's not to say that we couldn't still evaluate and spend some time and resources on things that are in the future, which is where we'd all love to be. I would love if, like, right now I was thinking mostly about next summer because spring's all dealt with. But and I did have a few that came in that I accepted for, this upcoming spring that I was doing at the same time as I was accepting fall this past semester. So it just really depends on the pacing of going through. I don't know if you have any other answers to that question. Mine was a little rambly.
Yeah, well, and I guess so. I think, and hi, Sally. I talked to her this afternoon. I think she's asking once the application is submitted to you about how long does it take? And
Oh
each
yeah.
program is different, so I don't want to speak to your. I don't know if you have an idea.
Yeah, the faculty reviewers and I have a really good relationship, and the office is good at nudging us sometimes, like, hey, so and so, like, you've got this application in your inbox. Can you please look at that? We have those conversations at least on a monthly basis. I don't think it goes even that long that it's sitting at our level waiting for us. I know, like, for me, when I get the notifications that I've got X many applications in my inbox, I try to look at them in the next 24 hours. And then usually then the letter comes out for decision 3 days after the decision is put into the system. So we are trying really hard though to turn these around to you guys as soon as you put them in, because I know that you're making plans and trying to figure out where you want to go, and we don't want to lose you just because you're waiting on us. So it's definitely something that we're working on and very cognizant of trying to turn around as soon as we can.
That is awesome. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And um, Stephanie asked, do you have start dates
Oh
every
yes.
8 weeks,
Yeah.
then or only two start dates? So that's a
Yeah,
great
that's
question.
yeah, great question. So I'll say this. I don't know of a program. I don't know that I've ever heard of a program, and this is not me just being biased, although I am obviously biased. I don't think I've ever heard of a program that's as flexible as ours, with like the starting and the stopping and the pausing and the we do start cohorts 3 times a year. So we've got, a January start date, a May start date, an August start date. It's encouraged for sure to hit your start on one of those 3 months. I can't say that I've ever had someone jump in mid semester, like mid 8 weeks, like say in March. I think part of the reason we haven't experienced that is just from a registrar's perspective. They don't have a way to kind of count you as a student if you're not enrolled in a class for those first 8 weeks of the semester. And that's where the issues come in. But like, again, based on whatever you have going on in life, like talk to us and we can come up with some sort of creative plan to try to make it work. If there's like some reason that you couldn't do something for an 8 week cluster or whatever, like we could figure that out. It would probably not work for the first semester you're in the program, but in subsequent semesters, it's something we could talk about.
That's a great question too.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've covered everything so far. Does anybody have any other questions? Dr. Chang has done a great job. I know a lot of the questions that I get from students you actually already covered in
Yay.
your information. So that is fantastic. Yes, and then some of ours in the chat are the common questions. So
Yeah. And then just again, then for the record, like I know that this info sesh was specific to the Mason Online MSN Family Nurse Practitioner program, but just throwing it out there. And I'm happy to connect you guys to the proper people if you wanted to learn more about some of our other options. We do have, like I said, that traditional kind of hybrid model of MSN FNP program if you're thinking you want to be in person sometimes. We do have also DMP programs that have family nurse practitioner, adult gero nurse practitioner, and administrative DMP concentrations. Oh, and psych. I'm sorry. How did I forget psych? That's like what I just did. Psych. Psychiatric mental health NP DMP program as well. So again, not for this session, but I want to at least throw that out there if people are still turning their wheels on what program makes sense for me, which way do I go? We do have other options as well.
And also, if you get to talk to one of us and you are looking for that program that we are not experts on, we do refer you to an on-campus contact. I had one today for the psychiatric nurse program that I referred to the
Yeah,
on-campus representative. So
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Perfect. And I'm happy to, share my email as well if anybody else has any additional questions. But yeah, thank you guys all for joining. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Y'all have been fabulous, and just I thank you all for joining and asking great questions and participating. It's always nice to have people on here with us, and it's a fantastic program. So I'm super excited that so many of you are interested, or I know some of you have already applied, which is exciting. So, and that's what we're here for, is to help you. Oh, Allie, thank you. She said, thank you for the information. You're inspiring.
Thank you.
Dr. Chang is pretty amazing. So, but thank you all so much. And thank you for your time, Dr. Chang. I know you're extremely busy as well, but we so appreciate you taking the time to hop on here and talk with
I love
prospective
it.
students. And yeah, it's a
Yeah,
fun
I
night.
love it. If I could just get everybody to come and just have all the amazing FMPs in the world, then I'm like, okay, good. I can sleep at
Yes.
night.
All
Done our
those world
job.
changers. Yes. All those world changers. Oh,
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
y'all take care. And if you, make sure you get the phone number and the email if you don't already have a contact. And we will see you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.